Okay, Tom, first off, congratulations. You are becoming the anchor of NBC Nightly News. Tons of great other anchors have held that seat too. We're talking like Tom Brokaw, Brian Williams, Lester Holt. So how does it feel?
It feels incredible, right? I grew up watching a lot of those guys. We were an NBC family, so those were my heroes, especially Lester. He's been a mentor and a friend for a long time. And besides being an amazing journalist, he's an amazing guy. He always made time for me throughout my career. And I met him when I was 21 or 22. I started working for him. My wife worked for him as well. And so it's really great to honor his legacy and to carry on the tradition of Nightly News. I really think Nightly News is the show of record for this country. And I want the viewers in Portland to know that I work for NBC, but I really work for them. I believe this is a public service. I believe people need the news. And I think because of the wild times we live in right now, whether it's in our country or overseas or even in your backyard, you need to rely on local news and you need to rely on the Nightly News, and we're going to be there for them.
Yeah, and you are taking the seat, as we were talking about, held by greats. What does it mean for you, though, to be the first Latino anchor of a network evening news program?
You know, my parents escaped communist Cuba in the late 50s and early 60s. They came to this country with little money, not knowing the language, and this country gave them a second chance. And so they instilled in me the love of America, and I do. I love this country so much. I think it's the greatest place in the world. They also taught me hard work, and I think that's the immigrant sort of mentality. I think it also says something else, that you can come to this country with nothing. You can work really hard and put your family first like my parents did, and your son can become the anchor of Nightly News. And to me, that is the American dream. And I believe the American dream is alive because I've lived it.
Really well said. I know you said you're a hard worker. Will there be any changes to Nightly's style or content when you end up taking the helm?
You know, we're not going to change things too much. I think a lot of people have relied on the broadcast for decades. It's a great show. Lester has built a great show. We're gonna carry on that tradition. I think little by little I'll be putting my stamp on it, right? I think every anchor does that. Every great anchor does that. So I'll be trying to do that as well. But it won't look dramatically different than what you've grown up with.
Okay, and I know you bring a huge reporting background. You're on scene at a lot of places. Since you've joined NBC in 2021, what would you say is your most memorable story?
Oh, there's so many. That's a tough one to answer. You know, sometimes in this job, you meet people on the worst day of their lives, but they show you something that never leaves you. And what I've always seen, and it's true everywhere, it's that in disasters or in horrific events, good people always show up, and we always highlight their stories. And it's because of them that communities are able to build up. I've covered a lot of things in my life, but I've always remembered those people that have taken the time to talk to us, to share their stories. You know, you never forget those big hurricanes that can just tear apart communities, or tornadoes, or those major historical events. I've covered presidential campaigns. I covered President Trump's first campaign. I will definitely never forget that. I don't think anybody's ever seen anything quite like that. And I just was covering the Pope's funeral, Pope Francis, in Rome, where there were hundreds of thousands of Catholics and Christians from all over the world coming there to honor a man who was so important to them. So, I mean, every story is important to me, and I always know that tomorrow's going to bring a new big one.
Right, and you've been to a lot of places covering lots of stories. It is a demanding career. So how do you balance that with raising a family?
Yeah, I have 3 little kids, 12, 9, and 7, and I have an amazing wife who holds it all together for us. She is really the rock of our family. You know, it's tough, and I've had conversations with Lester about this because the demands on this job are mighty. My kids have grown up with me always as a reporter and an anchor, so they know sometimes I got to leave baseball games or musicals or gymnastics meets, but they know that I'm always going to come back home, and I'm going to be there for them. I think every American sort of deals with this struggle, right? The work-life balance. It's something that we deal with my family, and they know that I'm not only leaving them, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to hopefully help somebody, or at least bring information to the viewers back at home. And they know that when I'm not here and I'm not working, I'm with them because they are my life.
A commitment to family and career.